Welcome back to another episode of Becoming an Online Sales Queen. I'm Rach Howarth, and in this episode, it's a good one, girls. We are going to unpack how you can grow an Instagram audience and convert them into paying clients, okay? Now, what I'm about to share with you is my 4-step content framework. And this is the same 4-step content framework that I use in my business and that I share inside my paid programs, including my high-level mastermind, okay? So this episode is super juicy. If you are not already subscribed to the podcast, subscribe to YouTube, wherever it is that you are watching this episode, then do give it a like and a subscribe for me. I would really appreciate that. And if you know a girlie who's growing a business on Instagram and wants some tips and tricks on how to create content that converts to followers and to sales, then please do share this episode with them, okay? Because I know what I'm about to share is going to change the game for you, okay? So, not all content is created equal, right? Not every bit of content that you create will give you the same outcome. And this is what the F.A.N.S framework does, is it helps you to differentiate between your content plan, between the types of content that you are going to need to post if you were going to take somebody from cold to sold, yeah? If you were going to take somebody from not knowing who you are to then finding your content, deciding that they want to follow you, then seeing more of your content, deciding that they trust you, falling in love with you so that they come and stalk you and consume every bit of content that you create. And then, of course, what's going to happen is the trust will be sky high and they will be ready to come and work with you, okay? So the F.A.N.S framework is great for coaches, for service providers, therapists, online educators, course creators. If you are a VA, a social media manager, this strategy is the way that you are going to find and sign clients online, okay? So if right now you're struggling with Instagram, you think the algorithm is against you, you feel like you're posting content into a void and getting absolutely nowhere, you feel like a secret, you feel like Instagram hates you and is completely against you, and trust me, I have been there too, okay? This episode is really going to help you. And the F.A.N.S framework is not something that I just made up. It is my framework, but I came up with it after reviewing my own success. So after reviewing, because I thought the Instagram algorithm hated me too, yeah? And so I was testing, I was trying different things, and I was really figuring out how do buyers buy online? What are the steps that they go through? What does the customer journey look like? And how can I make sure that I put my content in front of the people that are the most likely to want to follow me, are the most likely to want to buy from me? And obviously that is going to in turn help you sell your business, right? When sell your business, you don't want to sell your business, you want to grow your business. This is going to help you sell your offer, yeah? Sell your offer and grow your business. So let me take a sip of my drink and get rid of it because it's heavy. No, I'll put it down here. And you will have noticed, actually, I haven't said anything, but those of you watching on YouTube, you will see that we are in a different area, but we are not really. This is just the acoustic panels that we've had put up in the area where I'm going to be filming and recording, ready for, my YouTube, my podcast, and all other content that I create for you. I'm loving these acoustic panels. I really hope that it is helping the sound to improve in quality. And this big blank space that we've got here, I'm so excited because I'm going to order a neon sign saying Online Sales Queen, because that is what we are doing here, helping you to become an online sales queen. So yeah, I'm going to get myself a sexy little neon sign and make the podcast area look even more bougie than it already does. So let's get into it. The F.A.N.S content framework, okay? The F stands for follower growth content. The A stands for authority content. The N is nurture content, and the S is sales content. You probably could have guessed that one, yeah? Now, like I said at the beginning, not all content is created equal, right? Not all content will give you the same outcome. Follower growth content will give you followers. Authority content will position you as an expert, will position you as a leader, will demonstrate to your audience that you are somebody that they need to listen to. Okay, nurture content Once you've demonstrated your authority, you've positioned yourself as an expert, nurture content is going to nurture trust. It's going to build the relationship, develop the connection to the level that it needs to be for somebody to trust you enough to buy from you. Okay. So it's going to nurture. And different humans take different periods of time to feel nurtured. You might decide you trust somebody in an instant. You might decide that somebody else doesn't deserve your trust ever. Yeah. Somebody else might win your trust over the space of 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah. So not everybody develops a trusted connection with another human at the same speed. And typically, biopsychology dictates that it takes between 7 and 21 touch points for somebody to trust you. Okay. Now, you might think 7, like how on earth am I going to put myself in front of them 7 times? How on earth would I do 21 times? But trust me, every single touch point doesn't have to be some like massive big moment. Yeah, like them watching your stories, moment 1, seeing your feed in their, seeing your content in their feed, moment 2, listening to a podcast where you were a guest, seeing you on stage, meeting you at a networking event, every day they see your post is another touch point. Okay. So it doesn't actually take as long as it might sound when I say 7 to 21. So let's go back to the beginning of F.A.N.S. Follower growth content. What is that? Now, you might think that that is entertaining content, like trending content, things like funny memes, humorous things, yeah, like trending audios where you lip sync. And they may get you followers, but they won't get you the right followers. Yeah, if you remember, I'm calling this episode How to Grow an Audience on Instagram and Convert Them into Paying Clients. Yeah, so you're not going to convert entertainment followers into buyers. That's not going to happen. What an entertainment follower will probably do is unfollow in a couple of weeks. Yeah, so I wouldn't recommend that you get into like trends and funny memes and all of that sort of stuff. Follower growth content is high value content. It's educational content. It's the stuff that you share, the 3 ways to do this, the 5 ways to do that, how I would grow my business to 100K in the next 6 months if I had to start again. That's the sort of content. I know when I share that content, I see the save rate go up. So people save that post a lot. And that's the sort of stuff that when people love it enough to save it, what they're really saying is, I want to see it again. I want to see it again. And so do they want to see the post again, or do they want to see the creator again? So sometimes people will just save and not follow. And other times they will come and stalk your profile and decide whether or not you are somebody that they want in their feed on a daily basis. So it may just be that they say, oh no, that was a valuable post, but I won't follow her. Or it may be that they say, no, she is somebody that is speaking about the exact topic that I want to learn more about. She is somebody that's created the life that I want to live. She is somebody that's building the business that looks like the one that I want to have. Yeah. So where they see synergy, they see the post, they come and check out your profile. So make sure that your profile is optimized. And then, of course, they hit the follow button. Okay. So that's your follower growth content. And actually, I'm running a workshop coming up soon. It's called Posts to Get Paid. And it's a 2-day workshop. I'm running it on the 19th and 20th of August. I would love you to come along. There'll be an opportunity to, I'll do some training with you, but there'll also be an opportunity to bring your questions and get your questions asked. I would love as many of you to come along to that 2-day workshop as possible. I'll put the link below this episode for you in the show notes. It's called Post to Get Paid. And yeah, I'd love you to come along, and I'll be diving into this in loads more detail. Okay, so we've done F for follower growth content. Let's now move to authority content. This is where I know a lot of you get in your own head a little bit. Yeah, you get in your own head because you think, am I an authority? Am I really an expert? Do I deserve to call myself an expert? Do I have enough experience to show up as a real leader on this topic? I promise you, you do. Yeah, I promise you, you do. I don't want you to sit in that doubt for a minute longer. You are an authority. You started your business because you are an authority. So when it comes to authority content, I want you to get out of your own way. I want you to recognize yourself for the expert that you are. And I want you to share authority content loud and proud. Okay. Now, what is authority content? Well, authority content is stories that you could tell that position you as the authority. So it could be a story about where your expertise came from, a story about how you gained the experience that you've got in the topic that you're an expert in. It could be a story about how you helped a client to gain a particular result or outcome using your framework, for example. Yeah. Authority content could be you sharing a client win and then reverse engineering that client win and saying, here's how we did it. Yeah, in fact, I did a piece of content like this a little while ago. You may have seen it. I also created a podcast and a YouTube video out of it as well. So it was called "Here's How My Client Had a 40K Week." And so what that is that is an authoritative title, because I'm saying I know how to help you make money. And I know how to do that so well that my client made £40,000. And here's how we did it. Yeah. So that's an authority piece of content, because not only am I, claiming that result as being a result that I've helped my client to achieve, I'm also then breaking down how we did it. So that might be taking them through your framework, your trusted methodology, your proven system. Yeah. And you'll see me doing that a lot. I think my seven-step growth system link is always in the show notes below. If you ever want to get your hands on a very simple and easy to follow growth system to grow your business to 100K a year, 200K a year, then that is the system. That is the training that you must watch. The link is below. It's called the 7-step system. Yeah, my online sales queen 7-step system. It is a game changer. Okay. So authority content is you sharing stories, sharing wins, sharing how you did it. Now, what some of you may be thinking is, but you just said follower growth content was high value content. And now authority content is me sharing my framework and sharing like really authoritative stories that are also high value. Yes, follower growth content and authority content has a very similar outcome. You could post authority content that gets you followers, and your follower growth content also positions you as an authority. But I want you to see them as two separate things, okay? Because I want you in your content plan to be very focused on certain parts of the month are when you grow your followers. You might have a little 3-day follower growth campaign in your content plan where you really do focus on gaining new followers. And then there may be another part of the month where you focus on building authority because you're gearing up ready to make an offer, to make an invitation, okay? So I've separated them out in the F.A.N.S framework because they are similar but not identical, okay? So follower growth content is straightforward, high value educational content without necessarily the full story. Authority content is where you share the story, you share the how, you get into things that make it personal to you. And before you say, oh, but Rach, I can't do authority content because isn't that braggy? Isn't it boastful? I don't want to come across as like, hey, look at me, look at me. I need you to hear this when I say this, right? If you don't step powerfully into your authority, if you don't speak as a leader, if you don't get over your fear of being seen as braggy and boastful, then you stand the chance of blending in. Lack of authority content means that you are vanilla, you are the same as everybody else. And we don't want that, do we, girls? Absolutely not, okay? So you've got to get over that. Yeah, you've got to put that fear of being braggy and boastful to one side, and you've got to recognize that you are an authority, okay? So let's move on. Step number 3, N, N of the F.A.N.S framework is nurture content. So this is content that creates connection. So I'm going to say it's storytelling, just like in authority content, but it would be more personal stories. things like behind the scenes content. Not necessarily day in the life. Yeah, I'm not going to recommend that you go off and do like vlogs and day in the life and come to London with me, because if you're at the start of your journey, you've got to ask yourself, why does anybody care at this point? Yeah, like I don't do a lot of that type of content because I don't believe enough of you want to see behind the scenes of my life. Although recently you've been asking me for house tours, you've been asking me to show you my garden, you've been you love the hot tub, right? Like so many of you were like, oh, show us around the garden, like show us the hot tub, I'd love a hot tub. So the more that you show up, the more people will want to know the behind the scenes. Yeah, what I share a lot of is that what I'm doing in a day, like where I'm spending my time, how I'm splitting my time between client delivery and planning and offer creation and strategizing and CEO days, that sort of thing. Nurture content is where your audience feel connected to you. The relationship is building, and when the relationship builds, so does trust. Okay, the more that you share authority content, positioning you as the trusted expert, the leader, the more that that person will feel nurtured to buy from you. Okay, so once you've nurtured, and the best way to nurture is video content, because on video content, people can hear your voice, they can feel your energy, they can see, here I am like talking with my hands. They can see the way that you communicate, your style, your personality. It's very difficult to nurture with faceless content. It's very difficult to create trust through a Canva graphic. So I know that some of you will be like, oh no, not more video. Like video freaks me out. I worry about video. I get scared I'm going to fluff my words. I promise you, if you do a video where you fluff your words, your audience will love you for it. Yeah, like your audience love a blooper. Everybody loves the realism, the realism of life. If I fell off my chair right now onto the floor, you girls would love it. And I would be like, oh God, I really should edit that out. But I know they're going to love it because it makes me real. Yeah, and I probably would fall off the chair, to be fair, but I won't. I'll try not to. Yeah, so nurture content is you showing up as you, building that connection, showing your personality, being vulnerable, telling stories, and doing it consistently so that trust can build. Yeah, the more authority content, the more trust will build of you as an expert, but you need the trust of you as a person as well. Okay? And then we get to step 4 of the F.A.N.S framework, which is sales content. And this is something I am going to go into loads more detail about at my 2-day workshop, okay? Posts to get paid. 19th and 20th of August. I am going to put the link below this episode for you. Please come register for that 2-day workshop, because posts to get paid is going to give you so much more detail than I can share here in a podcast episode with you, okay? You're going to get 2 days, 2 workshops, the opportunity to ask me questions, all the things that I know that you need to shift you forwards and help you to build your audience on Instagram and convert them into paying clients, okay? It is no good just building an audience of browsers, like we do not want an audience of just browsers. We want an audience of buyers. Yeah, your business cannot grow with browsers. It needs to grow with buyers. So sales content is how we're going to do that. Now, the style of sales content that I am seeing as working the best right now is what I call selling without selling, okay? So you might think, well, sales content is me showing up going, this is my offer, this is what's included, this is when it starts, this is how much it is. Yes, that is sales content. But the type of content that I'm seeing as working the absolute best right now is where you don't even mention the name of your offer, right? You don't even mention it by name. Let me just have a little sip of my water. You don't mention it by name. So what do you mention, right? What you mention is the result. You talk about the transformation. So if it was me and I wanted to sell my mastermind, I would not do a post that says, hey, come and join my mastermind, because I would expect people to be like, oh, there's Rach selling her mastermind again. So I wouldn't name the mastermind. I would say, I'm looking for 3 women who want to hit 20K a month in their business. And so this might be a carousel, right? And that might be page 1. I'm looking for 3 women who want to hit 20K a month in their business. And then I might go slide 2. The best way to make 20K a month in your business is to create an evergreen group program. And then I might go slide 3. And once you've got an evergreen group program, we can build you an evergreen funnel so that you can attract leads and sales every single week. And then I might go to the next slide. This is something that I teach inside my inner circle program. Yeah, this space, next slide. This space is where girls come when they are building a 100 to 200K a year business and they are done with working 24/7. They are done with hustle. Next slide. Like when you're inside this program with me, you get access to me on Slack, you get Zoom calls with me, and it even includes a one-to-one. And then next slide, I might say, if this sounds like the sort of coaching container that you want to be in right now, message me the word mastermind. So nowhere have I actually said, come and join the Infinite Abundance Mastermind. I've talked about the results. Yeah, we make 20K. I've talked about we build evergreen group programs. We build evergreen group funnels. I've talked about the community. I've talked about the fact that you get to show up on calls with me. But I haven't actually said, here's the offer. Here's how much it is. Here's exactly what you get. Click the link, come and buy it. What I've done is I've created interest. I've created curiosity. I've created an alignment between the person I'm speaking to and the offer the results, that my offer creates and what they want. Yeah. So your offer, remember, your offer is the vehicle. It's the method. It's the way that somebody gets from their problem state to their outcome, the transformation that they want, the result. So you don't necessarily always need to sell the offer. What you need to sell is the result. You need to say, I am on a mission to help, like one of my missions is to create 10 female millionaires. And I have a millionaire mastermind where I do this. So I might do a post that says, I'm on a mission to create 10 female millionaires. And I already know who 5 of them are. Who are the other 5? And then in the caption, I might say, if it's you, message me the word million so that I can tell you about a space that I have where we're going to work on your $1 million plan. So I haven't said, come and join my millionaire mastermind. What I've said is talk to me. Yeah, because sales are actually made in the DMs. When have you actually ever seen an Instagram post with a button below it and a place to put your credit card number in? Like, Instagram doesn't give us that, like, to get a link on your post, you've got to do paid ads. And I don't recommend that you do that unless we've had a conversation first. And so you aren't going to necessarily convert sales directly from your post. What you need is a conversation. So you want to think about your sales posts as conversation starters. Yeah. They're not click the link, book, buy, do it here, apply today. They're not here's the call to action and you are going to head straight into the offer immediately. You want to think about, for this offer, do I want people to apply? Do I want people to book a call? Do I want people to DM me? And think about your sales content as being a conversation starter. Okay. So I'm going to leave it here because I don't want the episode to go too long, because I know that you listen to this while you're out walking the dog, while you're doing things that, are not really, really long tasks. So I'm going to leave it here, but I am going to go into loads more detail. And in the workshop, we're going to be on Zoom. So I'm going to be able to share my screen and show you the exact types of content. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to give you some templates. So I'm not just going to say, oh, go and create a carousel like this. I'm actually going to give you a template so that you can just take my template, put your copy on the, within it, and then post it. Okay. So I'm going to make your life so easy around content that you aren't going to know what's hit you. Okay. I am really on a mission right now to speed up your success by helping you with content, because like I said right at the beginning, it is the number one question I get asked: how to grow my Instagram audience and convert them into paying clients. Number one, it is right up there. So I'm going to help you with it, okay, in a big way. So do come and get yourself registered for posts to get paid. And I will see you on the next episode of Becoming an Online Sales Queen. As I said at the beginning, please do like and subscribe to the show. And if you know another girl in business, somebody who is selling courses online, wanting to create passive income, wanting to sell coaching offers, wanting to grow her business as a VA, a social media manager, a service provider, an online educator in any way, please do share this episode with her, because we want to get this message out to as many women as possible so that we can all become online sales queens. I will see you next time.